Elmer Lucille was born in Louisville in 1931. She was named after her father, but they called her Seal. She said they must have wanted a boy because when her brother was born, he was named Elmer too. While her parents lived in what is now the Russell neighborhood, she mostly lived with her grandmother, Ella Gwynn, in East Downtown when she was little. Her father was a Pullman porter and taxi driver, and her mother worked as a maid. Since they had male boarders upstairs, Elmer Lucille took baths in a tin tub downstairs. Most days she played games like hopscotch on the street with her best friend Loretta, or they played in the old truck on her grandmother's property. She became a Girl Scout at the Presbyterian Church, which later became the Presbyterian Community Center. Elmer Lucille attended Western Elementary, Matterson Junior High School, and Central High School, all segregated schools. Her role models lived right in her neighborhood. They were her teachers. Impeccably dressed and highly respected, they encouraged her, especially Frances Munford at Madison, who taught writing and served as an example of excellence. The principal, William Perry, was president of the Kentucky Negro Education Association. Thomas Bloom, the first black librarian, and Albert Mazik lived on her block. Everyone knew each other. In the afternoons, Elmer Lucille and her family got dressed and sat on the porch. They didn't leave the neighborhood. Why would they? They had everything they needed. Black businesses stretched from 6th to 13th streets, including insurance companies, barbershops and salons, theaters, clubs, and more. That was the vibrant, successful Old Walnut Street. Because there were only a few schools for blacks, students took a wide variety of courses and got an excellent education. Elmer Lucille took all her sciences, including chemistry and biology, and studied French and Latin. She also got a practical education. She started taking sewing in the 7th grade. Elmer Lucille has had a lifelong love of libraries. She volunteered when she was a student at Central High School and continued as a student at Louisville Municipal College. She took all her basic courses there. Louisville Municipal closed when schools were desegregated in 1950, and Elmer Lucille moved to Nazareth College, which later became Spalding University. She graduated with a degree in chemistry in 1953. Later in life, she established scholarships in the names of Barbara Miller and Patricia Laugardale, the first African American graduates at Spalding. Despite earning her degree, Elmer Lucille couldn't find a job in her field. They weren't hiring blacks in labs at that time. So she moved to Indianapolis, where her aunt lived, to work as a typist. As she says, any job is better than no job. She later took a civil service exam and realized her dream of becoming a med tech, working in several hospitals. When she returned to Louisville in 1958 with her young family, things had started to change on the job front. She worked as a med tech at Children's Hospital and was one of 4 African American women in that position. She moved to University of Louisville Medical and Dental Research and later was hired as a research chemist at American Synthetic Rubber Company. Then in 1966, she was hired as a junior chemist at Brown-Forman, where she would work for 31 years. She was the first African American chemist at Brown-Forman. She saw so many changes over the years. When she started, women weren't allowed to wear pants, so she took the bus every day in pants and switched into her crisp white work dress. At her lunch hour, she would go home to start dinner for her family. Over the years, she learned all the new technology as her job changed from doing calculations by hand to working with computers. And she learned about investing. She bought Brown-Forman stock and established a solid foundation for herself and her family. Elmer Lucille was always engaged in the community. She even founded the Chickasaw Little League in 1969. In the 1970s, she began working with clay to combat arthritis. She took classes at Metro Art Center on Dixie Highway. She added fiber classes as well. Sessions were taught by University of Louisville graduate students, and one of them encouraged her to take ceramics at the university. She was also deeply engaged in the art community. She was president of the Kentucky Coalition of Afro-American Arts, Incorporated, founded in the early 1980s, for almost 10 years. In that role, she published 2 directories of African American artists and arts organizations from across the Commonwealth of Kentucky and hosted 2 arts conferences. After retiring from Brown-Forman in 1997, at the encouragement of her U of L teachers, she enrolled in the graduate program where she earned her master's degree in ceramics and fiber arts. She is the only African American to earn a ceramics degree at U of L and only one of 2 to earn a fiber arts degree. Elmer Lucille does her art for the joy of it. She is still taking ceramics classes at U of L and has a particular love of making teapots. On the fiber side, she specializes in shibori dyeing, a Japanese technique where she hand stitches designs on fabric, dyes her work, and removes the stitches. She has a unique perspective on the link between science and art. Elmer Lucille exhibits her art locally, nationally, and internationally. She is committed to supporting other artists and has been honored countless times for her long-standing artistic and community work, including with the Wayside Christian Mission Gallery, West Louisville Women's Collaborative, Commission on Public Art, and so much more. In 2019, a mural honoring her was created as part of the Smoketown Mural Festival. Elmer Lucille Allen, artist and trailblazer, a true Louisville legend.